right, y'all, we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. No wait screen tonight. We're going right into storm tracking mode. Welcome. I'm Meteorologist Shane Smith. Glad you can join us tonight. No, we got some anxious folks in the Cumberland Valley. I'm worried a little bit about the weather, but that's okay. We're going to talk about it. Right now, things are behaving themselves. I think it should stay that way. But I'm here to answer your questions about the weather tonight as these storms move in. And you can see we are tracking a line of strong thunderstorms entering eastern Kentucky right now. And for my friends in Somerset, we got a strong one, but it's not severe, thankfully. But I know there's a lot of storm anxiety down here right now, and rightfully so. So I just wanted to pop on and talk y'all through this. Let me get this shared out on social, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Let me know where you're joining us from. Share it out. Like it. If you got questions, I got answers. I am the meteorologist that loves answering the question, when's it going to hit my backyard? Because I find that challenging and I enjoy letting people know when it's going to impact them directly. So I do not mind answering that question. So welcome on board. I'm going to be sharing this out on a couple of different social media platforms real quick. We are streaming live tonight on both YouTube and Facebook. And I'm sharing this out right now on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it these days. All right. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us. Already got a lot of messages. Dwayne Russellberg, Trenton Love, Heather Sally joining us from Monticello, watching from near Buckhorn. Sylvia joining us from Prospect, Kentucky. Um, Thank you all for joining us. So, right now I've got the Weather Service radar pulled up in Radar Omega from over at the National Weather Service office site in Jackson. Let's kind of take a look at what's going on. Monticello, I saw we had somebody watching from there. Got a little bit of a strong storm off to your west. The heaviest of rain right now on top of Jamestown. Pretty good little cell, maybe a little small hail. Some very heavy rain right now just west of Somerset and Ferguson. That's going to track along 27 and or track across 27 here in about the next 15-20 minutes. It's going to follow along Highway 80. Little bit of lightning with that. Anytime you see one of these plus signs, which a little hard to see right now because it's embedded in some of those yellows and reds, but those plus signs are lightning strikes. So a little bit of lightning in that cell. Science Hill, you've got a good little heavy rain cell right now. Crab Orchard, you've got heavy rain in your vicinity. Broadhead, this is going to move your way in a little bit. Berea, some moderate rain to heavy rain. Not seeing as much lightning on the northern end of this storm. Richmond picking up on some moderate to heavy rain right now. Same story in Winchester. Going east along I-64 from Mount Sterling over to Moorhead, some more strong storms. But thankfully, nothing severe right now in eastern Kentucky. In fact, none of these storms in Kentucky have warnings on them. We did have some warnings earlier, but those have died down, thankfully. We can switch the radar off to the west. You can see a little bit more lightning on this next wave that's developing between Cincinnati and Louisville. Also, some more lightning north of Bowling Green. There's a little bit more energy over there right now, and all those storms are going to continue to push off to the east over the next several hours. So, right now, thankfully, nothing severe for eastern Kentucky. Some strong thunderstorms, some very typical uh, summer thunderstorms. Heavy rain, a little bit of pockets of intense lightning, some gusty winds, but right now, not severe. So, we are thankful for that, and we'll wait and see. Joel joining us from Anvil. Anvil will probably see some storms within the next hour to hour and a half. Corbin, Logan Paw, thanks for joining us watching on Facebook. Corbin will likely see thunderstorms within about the next hour or so. Uh, Kitty and Sean Duncan watching from Middlesboro. Thanks for joining us. Probably about 2 hours or so out from Middlesboro. Brandon and Tina Miller asking, is Barberville going to get anything? Barberville going to be probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Joey Moss joining us in London asking when we can expect showers and thunderstorms. In London, probably about the next hour or so. Thankfully, like I said, there is nothing severe out there right now. We are very grateful for that. Overall, the line is moving east at about 45 miles per hour. So we can kind of track that line, show you where some of the strongest parts of that are going to be going over the next little bit. So we can pop up the old storm track path on some of these parts of this cell. So that strongest cell that's just west of Somerset right now, it's going to be in Nancy in about 2 minutes, Oak Hill in about 9 minutes, Somerset, we're talking less than 10 minutes now, same story in Ferguson, about 15 minutes for Sugar Hill and Alcalade, and about 20 minutes in Piney Grove, and 25 minutes in Dykes and Poplarville, and eventually we'll reach about Sandy Gap in the next half hour or so. So that's going to push pretty much right along Highway 80 between Somerset and London. And I know a lot of folks through there are very weather aware right now, very anxious about any kind of storm moving in after everything that happened on May 16th. Brandon and Tina, I am right there with you. This active pattern has been ridiculous. This has been one of the most active weather patterns we've had around here in several years, between the heavy rain, between the thunderstorms. It has just been one that I am ready for a break from. Now, do want to point out down below me, we do have that severe thunderstorm watch for all the counties highlighted in yellow. That is going to go until 1 o'clock tonight. We are watching, at least for the potential of a few of these storms possibly spiking over severe limits. So what makes a severe thunderstorm? Well, it has to have two criteria, or at least one of two criteria. Either 58 mile per hour winds, you might say 58 miles per hour. Well, it's 50 knots, and when you convert knots to miles per hour, 58 miles per hour. Or 1 inch diameter hail, quarter size. I had a quarter laying around here and I lost it earlier. But everybody knows about how big a quarter is. Heather's asking, is it going to get rough in Monticello? Heather, it's not looking too bad down there right now. You should see the worst of this pass in the next 10 to 15 minutes. I'm expecting some moderate to heavy rain. I'm not seeing much lightning right now down with this part of the storm near Monticello. This kind of looks like a typical summer storm. So some gusty winds, some brief heavy rain will probably last about 20 or 30 minutes, and then it'll blow on through. But nothing severe with this. The most intense part of this line is right now running from about Science Hill to the north side of Somerset. So even down like around Burnside, I don't think you guys are going to get it as bad over in Pulaski County. Science Hill up to Eubank, there along 27. It's going to be a little bit squirrely for the next 20, 30 minutes. I mean, nothing too bad, just some lightning and some heavy rain, maybe even a little small hail where you're seeing some of that purple showing up there south of Hogue. Some of the roads in the path of this is Beech Grove Road. That may see a little bit of small hail. Bethlehem Road, Valley Road, and over towards Norwood along 1247 and US 27 heading north out of Somerset towards Science Hill. So likely going to be some heavy rain through there. Likely going to be some heavy rain from Science Hill north to Eubank in the next little bit. And that is definitely the most intense part of this cell, at least here in eastern Kentucky right now. You guys know I focused mainly on eastern Kentucky for my coverage. Heather's saying it is getting a little rough in Monticello. Okay, good to know. Just keep me posted. Be safe. But right now, nothing severe. Maria Roark asking about the tornado threat in Corbin. Thankfully, no tornado threat tonight, at least down here in eastern Kentucky. The main thing I'm concerned about is some gusty winds and the heavy rain. So I'm more concerned about the isolated flooding threat than the tornado threat. In fact, if you will give me just 1 second, I will pull something up. Oh, let me put that into studio mode real quick so I can fix that. So we are not expecting a tornado threat tonight in eastern Kentucky, so that is some good news. There we go. Let's try this now. There we go. Okay. So that's the tornado outlook from the Storm Prediction Center for tonight. Can zoom that in just a little bit to see that better. There is a 2% chance just to our west in Corbin. So that green is a 2% indicator. So not completely out of the realm of possibility to our west, but I think as this storm system moves east, it's going to lose a little juice now that it's 11 o'clock at night. We don't have the sun driving it, and the shear is not as good here. The shear was a little bit better farther north and farther west, so not really expecting that. In fact, I've got the velocity mode pulled up on radar scope right now, and just trying to keep an eye on that cell near Somerset. Green showing wind going away from the radar, red towards the radar. You want to see those greens and reds together to indicate rotation, and we're just not seeing that right now. We are seeing a couple of gusts possibly getting close to severe limits, although there is some overshooting of the radar over in that area. That's about 8,000 feet off the ground over there, so a lot of that wind may not be hitting the surface. So I hope that answers your questions. And if you have questions, please post them in the chat, either on Facebook or YouTube. Share this out. Let folks know I'm here. I'm covering Eastern Kentucky tonight. I'll be here for at least the next little bit to talk y'all through this. Thankfully, no active warnings, but I know folks are very keenly aware of the weather right now, and everybody's a little bit on edge after what happened just a little over a month ago. So I wanted to be here and talk everybody through it. Just let you know, this is not as bad as what we saw May 16th. This is just some typical summer thunderstorms. Honestly, my bigger concern, more so than the rain or than the storm threat, is the rain threat. We do continue to have a marginal risk both today and tomorrow for the area for excessive rainfall. So there is still that flash flooding threat. Let me pull that up for you guys to look at real quick. Doing a little producing behind the scenes real quick. Here we go. So areas in the green, a marginal risk of flash flooding tonight. Areas in the yellow, a slight risk. That's a 2 out of 4 on the flash flooding scale. And then as we go into tomorrow, that risk shifts a little bit eastward into eastern Kentucky. We are going to see the rain linger a little bit longer in eastern Kentucky tomorrow. That's because we've got more showers and storms that are going to develop. We will take a look at those here in just a moment. So if you have questions about what to expect with the weather tonight or tomorrow, please ask. I am happy to answer those. And for folks that may not know who I am, I'm a meteorologist based out of London, Kentucky. I worked television full-time for 7 years. I've been doing weather on the side ever since then. Still fill in at WYMT in Hazard and WKYT in Lexington on occasion. And I love talking Eastern Kentucky weather. So I am happy to answer your questions about what the weather is doing here in our backyards and the beautiful hills and mountains of Eastern Kentucky, because it's been a little bit chaotic over the last couple of months. That may be the understatement of the night. These are moving more due east, Maria. In fact, I can show you how they're going to progress in the future. I can pull up the HRRR model and show you what the radar is going to look like. Here in about an hour at midnight, you'll see the leading edge of the storm stretching from Moorhead down to Mount Vernon, not just starting to get into Laurel County and London. Corbin, this may be more like a 12:30, 1 o'clock type deal. We push it ahead an hour into the future. And you'll notice the HRRR is showing weakening. I don't know if we'll see that much, but it is something to note. And then we should see more storms develop tomorrow, late morning into early afternoon as that front pushes on through. Once again, some of those may just pop up barely over severe limits, and there's also going to be the potential of some heavy rain with those thunderstorms. In fact, let's take a look and see how much rain we could see here in the next 36 hours or so. Anywhere you see those purples showing up, that's an inch to an inch and a half. You start getting into the reds, that's 2 inches plus. So there will be some isolated pockets of heavy rain, and that could lead to some isolated instances of flash flooding. I'm not expecting anything major or widespread or as big as what we saw a couple summers ago in eastern Kentucky, but there will at least be the potential of some isolated pockets of flash flooding for your Thursday, for Juneteenth. Federal holiday tomorrow. A lot of people are going to be off. So once again, we're tracking strongest storm right now on top of Science Hill. I do want to cut into that with the velocity scope, just because sometimes in little line segments like this, and there's just a little bit of weak shear there, you can sometimes get a little quick spin up. Now, it's not a very good threat, but there's at least a small chance of that. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. I'm thankfully not seeing any radar indications of that right now. We're going to keep a close eye on that. The lightning is also not looking as intense, although if you are living out in Pulaski County, let me know what you're seeing. I would love to have your reports, and share this out. If you know anybody in Somerset, say jump on the stream, report your weather. If you can do so safely, send me a report either at Meteorologist Shane Smith on Facebook. Just drop a comment during the live stream here, or hit me up on X, that's S Smith Weather, over on Twitter or Instagram, and hopefully I'll see that and be able to pass those along. Eric joining us from Corbin. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well. So once again, no active warnings in eastern Kentucky right now. Also seeing some decent lightning up on the cell in Moorhead. I don't want to leave my friends up in Rowan County hanging. There's some decent lightning from Moorhead up along 32, heading up towards Flemingsburg. So just know some moderate to heavy rain there. That's continuing eastward out of Moorhead on 64 over towards Olive Hill. So you folks over in Olive Hill and Grayson, be on the lookout. You've got some moderate rain and a strong thunderstorm heading your way. Not seeing much right now in eastern Kentucky. This is definitely going to be an overnight thing for places like Hazard, Jackson, Harlan, Middlesboro, Pikeville. We're still a couple hours from this moving in. But the good news is with us losing the heating of the day, that is going to allow these storms to weaken as they push eastward. So we might have one or two spike up over severe limits, but I'm not expecting anything to get too crazy tonight. Maria asking, are we safe to sleep for tonight? Yes, just make sure you've either got some way to get alerts in case one's issued. I recommend a lot of the local TV station weather apps turn on the location services and the alert services, or Storm Radar from the Weather Channel has an alert feature on it. Weather Radio, I think, is the best way. And make sure you have the weather alert, the WEA alerts turned on your cell phone. As long as you've got at least two of those things in place, I think you're safe to go to bed. And if there is an alert issued for your area, you can wake up and take action. And we just had part of that severe thunderstorm watch trim back. They've trimmed back the western edge of that. That's now only including Pulaski and Laurel County down into Wayne County and McCreary County, extending northeast. So I think we're going to be able to get this watch out of here before 1 o'clock. I think the Weather Service is just going to wait, let this line pass. Some of this is hitting skies that have not seen much rain today, and that may allow this line to spark up just a little bit. But I'd say if we can get by the next hour or so without any issues, I'm not expecting this thing to cause any trouble tonight. So that is what I'm expecting with that, Maria. So if you guys have questions, I've got answers. And thanks for joining us. Be sure to hit that follow button and turn on notifications on Facebook. That'll let you know anytime when I go live. Also, same story on YouTube. Go hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and that way you guys know when I am live and broadcasting. I've been trying to do a little bit more lately, especially after everything that happened back in May, trying to keep folks down here in the Cumberland Valley and Eastern Kentucky aware of what's going on, just adding to the chorus of weather voices out there. And appreciate all the support. We've had almost 1,000 new followers on the Facebook page in the last month, so thank you guys for that. Thank you, Marie. Appreciate you. We're going to pop the radar back over to velocity mode just for a second. Kind of slice through the storm in a couple of different spots. When we're looking for rotation, we're looking for like greens and reds together. And I'm not really seeing that anywhere along the leading edge of the line. So that's some good news. So that shows me that we're not seeing much in the way of rotation. We are probably seeing a couple of pockets of wind pushing 40, 45 miles per hour as the leading edge of this storm pushes in. You may even have a few gusts upwards of 50. I don't think we're seeing a lot of 60 mile per hour winds mixing down yet. So that is some good news. Right now, the strongest part of the storm still seems to be in northern Pulaski County, just to the north and the east of Science Hill. And that is tracking off to the east at about 45 miles per hour. So we can take a look at some of the spots, seeing that Mount Vernon, you've got heavy rain right now. Northern end of Laurel County, this is going to start moving your way here in just a few minutes up towards the 49er. Shopville, looks like the worst of this is going to go north of you, but you're probably going to have some moderate to heavy rain for a minute or two, and that'll last just a little bit. Then more cells move in. I'm going to switch the radar perspective to the national radar just for a second, just to show you. Once this initial line comes through, we do have some more additional precipitation. I'm not expecting anything severe with this batch here, but that is additional rainfall on top of an already saturated ground. So the one concern that I do have there is the potential for maybe some isolated flash flooding, especially in this area down along Highway 80 and the old Cumberland Parkway. That is a little bit of a training setup. And what I mean by training is you're going to see thunderstorms going over the same area over and over. I'm going to put the radar into motion. Let me expand that out a little bit and just show you how this whole system has been developing over the last 2 hours or so. And you'll notice how it's filling in there between Campbellsville and Bowling Green. And you're seeing some of those yellows and oranges and reds tracking over the same spots over and over. This area right here is where I have some concerns about flash flooding over the next little bit. In fact, we can pull up the Louisville radar and take a look at how much rain they have seen down this way, and we can switch that over. Storm total precip. Oof. So yeah, over around Morgantown, and this is storm total, so this is including the last couple of days. We've seen like 5 to 6 inches of rain. That's a lot of rain. That could definitely cause some isolated flooding issues. So that's honestly my main concern for tonight, more so than the severe weather, is just the flooding for this cluster right through here. So once again, if you're just joining us, I'm meteorologist Shane Smith. It is almost 11:18 here on the East Coast time zone, and we're tracking some strong thunderstorms moving into eastern Kentucky. Specifically, I focused down around the Cumberland Valley, but I'm going to also include my friends up in Moorhead and Olive Hill and Grayson, because that's old WYMT country, and I know got a few folks up that way that follow me, but most of my audience is around the London and Corbin and Williamsburg areas. And we're just watching some strong thunderstorms move in. Right now, nothing severe. Expecting some heavy rain, some gusty winds in excess of maybe 50 miles per hour with this storm. A couple of pockets of intense lightning, especially with the storm near Moorhead and the storm near Science Hill that's pushing east. This entire line moving east at about 40 to 45 miles per hour. So for folks, Hazard, Harlan, this is still a couple hours out, probably 2-3 hours in those locations. Pikeville, we're probably a little bit closer to 3 to 4 hours before it gets to the far end of the Big Sandy and there along the Tug Fork. So it's going to be a little bit of a late night before this gets through. Thankfully, nothing severe right now. We have trimmed some of those counties off the severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 1. You can see the active watch down below me right now. All the counties highlighted in yellow. We can zoom that in a little bit now. I'm going to put the town names on there just to show you some of the towns still under that severe thunderstorm watch. Remember, a severe thunderstorm watch means conditions are favorable for the development of severe thunderstorms, but does not necessarily mean a severe thunderstorm is happening. A severe thunderstorm warning would indicate that a storm is severe, meaning it has either 58 mile per hour winds or 1-inch diameter hail. So watch means be on the lookout for it. Warning means take shelter because it is happening. So that's the difference between the old watch and the warning. I know sometimes we don't stress that enough, and we got to remind people about that because those words are very similar. Watch and warning, they sound similar. They both start with WA. So there are a few things that can be a little confusing about that. But watch just means be on the lookout. Warning means take action. I'm going to check out my social media feed, see if anything is going on the old Twitter machine, on Facebook. Check in with the Weather Service chat. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out and ask them to me. So right now we're just tracking this storm getting into eastern Kentucky. Just checking in with the Weather Service. One cool thing you can see on the radar right now is the outflow ahead of the storm. So when we have precipitation and that rain cooled air coming down, you can get what we call outflow push out ahead of the storm. That's a kind of a little pocket of cold air, and there's usually some strong wind gusts in that. So we've seen a couple of gusts of 30 to 40 in this outflow boundary that's coming out from the leading edge of those thunderstorms, and it's about anywhere from about 10 to 15 miles ahead of the main line of storms. So you see where there's that kind of that dark gray area and light green showing up on the radar ahead of the main line. That is that outflow boundary that's pushing some gusty wind out ahead of the main line of storms. So that's something kind of cool to see on the old radar. Your tax dollars at work, my friends. $3 to $4 a year gets you some of the best weather coverage in the world. And I use their data every day. All right, so looking like it's behaving itself, which is good. Not seeing a lot of lightning, which is also good. So it does look like the line is weakening a little bit. So we will probably stay with this till about 11:30 or 11:45, and as long as no additional warnings pop up, we will probably wrap up then. Just to give you a heads up, we do have that marginal risk for flash flooding for excessive rainfall tomorrow, and a marginal risk of severe weather with those thunderstorms that fire up um, during the morning and afternoon tomorrow. We can take a quick look at the old future radar once again, run that through, and you're seeing. Let me get the latest update on that because I'm not really vibing with that run of the HRRR. It's showing some line of storms coming into southern Kentucky tomorrow morning. Somerset about 9 o'clock. London, Corbin, Williamsburg. We'll call it 9:30ish. Hazard probably around 11. Yeah, it's going to be 9:30, 10 o'clock along the I-75 corridor. Pikeville probably around lunchtime. So we may have a few strong storms tomorrow morning. Some more pockets of isolated heavy rain. So that is good news. I'm going to go out to the big picture. The good news is once this area of low pressure and this cold front moves on through, we're actually going to dry out for a couple of days. I think Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and most of Monday are looking dry at this point. You can really see how wound up that low is getting up around the Great Plain, or up around the Great Lakes, excuse me. A couple little more bands of energy to come through. Then once we get those on through, we should be done with the rain for a couple of days, and I don't think anybody is going to complain about that. So, if you got questions, let me know. We'll probably wrap this up here in about 4 minutes if we don't see any more warnings come out. And I'm really thinking we're not going to see much of anything with that, thankfully. Thanks for everybody joining us on YouTube tonight. See a couple of folks over there. Let me know where you're watching from. And be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. That helps us out a lot. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to hit the follow button. All that helps make this a little bit easier, gets the word out there a little bit more, lets folks know, hey, this is worth watching, and I hope it's worth watching. Let me know what I can do to serve you. I'm a servant meteorologist. I want to let you, or I want to be able to help you in any way you need with your questions about the weather, especially here in Eastern Kentucky. Got some decent action around Grayson and Olive Hill right now. Moorhead, the worst is past you. Just lingering rain right now. Stanton, Irvin, McKee, decent storm moving in for y'all. Same story down in Anvil. London, we're probably about another 30 minutes out or so. This is moving about 45 miles per hour, and it's just now getting to the county line, so it'll probably take about a half hour, just like driving from Somerset to London. And then thankfully for folks down in Corbin and Williamsburg, this is not looking too bad. That part of the line down there is dying a bit. In fact, Middlesboro, you may not see much of anything tonight. Still seeing some moderate to heavy rain up in northern Kentucky, back towards Dry Ridge and Covington. Also some moderate rain extending back to Shelbyville, Owenton, and also some decent cells north of Bowling Green right now, just looking over at the Louisville radar. So still watching that pocket of precipitation north of Bowling Green. I'm hoping that doesn't cause any problems tonight, but if we're going to see any issues, I think it's going to be this cluster of storms through here might cause some isolated high water issues. We will just have to wait and see. That is my main concern for the night, just looking at overall radar trends. That is such a cool outflow boundary. Like, the weather nerd in me just loves seeing that, like right through there. That's winds gusting about 40 miles per hour ahead of the storm. All that rain-cooled air just being pushed down to the ground and sent moving forward. A lot of energy in that, a lot of physics going on. Weather's some pretty cool stuff. It's pretty amazing, pretty powerful, sometimes a little scary, but we don't want to scare you. We want to prepare you and let you know what to expect. So, we are coming up on 11:30. I want to thank you guys for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and probably cut the stream off right at 11:30. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions after I end the stream, just post them on my Facebook page, and I will try to answer them as I can. But until next time, friends, this has been Meteorologist Shane Smith. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It really helps out a lot. And take care. Stay weather aware. I'll catch you all next time. Have a good night.